Earthlings, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time visiting, this is only video number 2, so you'll have no problem catching up. I told you in the last video that I had an upcoming chronicle, if you will, about the purchase of my wonderful RV. Now let me preface that by saying, if wonderful doesn't do it justice, I am very happy with the RV itself. It suits me perfectly. Everything that I wanted in an RV, I got. So with the RV itself, wonderful. Absolutely love it. The buying experience, however, whole different story. As you might already know, the fact that I have issues with the buying experience may lead you directly to who I purchased my RV from. But we'll go ahead and get that out of the way, because I'm one of those people that failed to look at all of the people before me who cautioned everyone about going to General RV and purchasing your RV. So it really wasn't my intention the day that I left the house. My wife and I were pretty much just looking for something to do, and we decided to just go look at RVs, which sometimes we do with no intention of buying. But this particular day, we ended up going to Ashland. Actually, General RV wasn't our first stop. It just was in very close proximity to another notorious camper sales place, which we'll leave them out of this because they didn't have nothing to do with it, but they're right next door. So when we got there, we went to the first place, and basically we just wanted to look at RVs, but they were very, what are you looking for? What are you looking for in a Class A? So I just come up with a list of crazy items that I thought that he wouldn't have, and sure enough, he was right off the bat. Yeah, we don't have anything that'll get you in that ballpark. So, and just really didn't want us to look around and see. I mean, he didn't really say that, but he kind of we got that impression that he did not want to take any time to walk through and open campers for us. So I said, no problem. We'll go on next door and see what they've got over there. So we went over to General and got in, and to my surprise, same issue. The fellow was, well, what are you looking for in an RV? And I said, well, I'd like something that's 35 feet or longer. I want ample storage space underneath. It's very important to me, if I'm gonna be a full-time RVer, that I have plenty of storage. I said I'd like a dishwasher. I'd like a washer and dryer. It's got to be a diesel pusher. Trying to recall all the items that I told him, and I told him that wanted all the shades to go down at one time when you push one button, and all the lights to be able to be turned off from the push of one button, and just really was looking just to look at some RVs. I didn't really want to buy one, but and I told him I'd like to have payments under $2,000 a month. And to my surprise, the gentleman said, well, I think maybe I've got an Integra in the back that might suit that bill. And immediately when he said Integra, my antennas went up, and I'm like, dude, I really can't afford an Integra. He said, well, if I can keep the payments under $2,000, then that's what you said you wanted, right? I said, well, you're about ready to impress me if you can keep the payments of an Integra under $2,000. So we went back to look at the RV. It was in the bay in the back. I guess it had just recently came in, and they had the slide outs out and the awning out, and we went in. I think we looked around the outside first, and I said, well, yeah, it's got plenty of storage space. He said it's a little bit longer than what you want. It's actually 44.9. He said it's technically 45 feet. I said, all right, well, we're not going to let that be a deciding factor. So we went and looked at inside, And as soon as he opened the door and had the lights turned on, my wife walked up the steps and looked down the RV, and she turned around to the salesman and said, "Yeah, you can go ahead and get the paperwork ready. He's going to buy this." So she doesn't know a lot about negotiation, but so I came in and I looked around and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's got, fireplace. That was one of the other things that I had specified that I wanted. And all the shades go up and down. It's got a residential refrigerator. It's beautiful leather furniture. It's just a wonderful RV. Tile floors, heated floors. It's amazing. So we ended up telling him that, yeah, we'll go ahead and get this one. So we went and did the paperwork, and they put a little tag around my neck and around my wife's neck. It said VIP, and hopefully that didn't cause any noise when I touched that thing. But and they made us feel like very important people. So at that point. So everything, can I get you some coffee? Can I get you some water, bottled water? Made us very comfortable. The experience up to that point was wonderful, and I'm thinking, well, what is everybody complaining about with General RV? They seem to be on top of their game. So we went ahead and I put a deposit down on the RV, and we were supposed to come back. I think 3 or 4 days later to do a walkthrough inspection. So when we came back to do the walkthrough, there was a couple items on the walkthrough that I noticed that from what I could tell, they had it set up outside with the water going to it and everything. But I noticed when we were looking at the RV that some of the LED lights were out on the awning, just little sections of the lighting that wasn't lit up. I also noticed that the escutcheon plate around the stereo on the outside was broken, and the salesman was like, "Yeah, we'll take care of that." And when I mentioned the lighting to him, he told me that now keep in mind we're there to do the walkthrough and to take possession on that day. So I pointed out to him that I'd like to, we walked through the thing, and during the process of the walkthrough, I also discovered that the half bath toilet, when you flush it, it's an electronic toilet. So when I flushed it, the valve opened up, the water sprayed, the valve never closed. So that left the bottom of the toilet open to the black tank. And I pointed that out to him, and he says, well, it's still operational, so I don't think we can do anything with that. And immediately, the red flags went up. I was like, well, how anybody that's spent more than a day in a camper of any sort knows that you can't just leave the toilet open to the black tank. I mean, the toxic gases and the smell alone would prevent you from even being in the camper. I said, so no, it has to be fixed. So he reluctantly agreed to take care of that. I would have to bring it back though. So he would have to order parts for it, and I'd have to bring it back up there. I also noticed that one of the shades in the bedroom, when you push the button for the shades to go down, all the shades went down throughout the whole coach except one in the bedroom, and it just kind of sputtered a little bit and then quit. And then if you push the button again, it would sputter a little bit longer, and it would go down a little bit farther and quit. So you'd have to push the button 3 or 4 times to get that shade to get all the way to the bottom. So I told him that needed to be fixed, and he said, well, I have our guys take a look at that. So we went through the whole process, filling out the paperwork and getting contracts ready and all that stuff, and getting the financing approved. And my understanding was that the technicians were going to be looking at those issues while we were doing the paperwork. And later it became apparent to me that was not the case. They had not looked at the window blind at all. And the toilet, basically one of their guys came in and manually closed the valve in the toilet and told me that, yeah, they were able to close it manually, but that they were going to still, order a part for it. So we went ahead, took possession of the RV, and I noticed it, well, while we were still on the lot, I turned the steering wheel hard to the left and I heard this terrible thump. And I mean, I could feel it in the RV. And I said, well, what in the world was that? And we were on our way out at that time. So I pulled out of the gate, but I was very nervous about it at that point because it sounded like something in the suspension. So then I looked in the rearview mirror and seen that despite the salesman telling me that everything was buttoned up and they went around and checked everything, made sure it was ready for the road, I didn't barely get out of the gate 15 feet, and I looked in the mirror and seen that one of the basement compartments was just swinging in the breeze. So I got out and closed that up, and it was able to be closed and latched. So no issue there. We continued on our way. When I got home with the RV, backing it into the driveway, that thump returned. Anytime you turn the wheel one way or the other, you get this really bad thump. So I talked to him about that when I went back to get the toilet and the shade repaired. Now, in the process of making sure that everything was straight for the appointment, because the dealership is about 60 miles from my home, so I didn't really want to be making multiple trips. So I called them and asked them if they had the parts ready, and actually they had sent me an email saying that the parts were ready, and I called them to confirm that the parts for both the toilet and the shade were there, and she said, I don't know anything about the shade. And I'm like, all right, well, yeah, that's got to be, that you got to have the motor for the shade as well, because that needs to be replaced. I said, I have taken it apart and confirmed that the motor is bad. And she said, well, our technician will have to take a look at that. I said, well, I thought your technician did take a look at that while we were filling out the paperwork. That was my understanding, that he was going to do that. No, they didn't look at it. So I said, well, this is what you need to do then. You need to go ahead and order the part and get it in. I said, because y'all are a rather large dealership. It's surprising to me that you don't already have it in stock. But in the event that your technician is able to fix the shade, then you'll have one in stock, and he'll be able to fix this one. I said, but I can tell you he's not going to be able to fix it. So they were really reluctant to do that, and I couldn't understand that. But when I went back, they did finally, after 4 or 5 more days, they called me back and said that they did have both parts in stock, and I needed to make an appointment to bring it up there. I did that. I went up there, and immediately upon getting there, I was met with a lot of excuses, really, because I told the lady at the service writer that about the thud that was occurring in the undercarriage, and she said, well, I'll have them take a look at that, but that's gonna be an extra cost. And I'm like, what are you talking about, an extra cost? I said, the thing hasn't got 100 miles on it. I said, and the thud occurred the first time when I was still on your lot. And she was like, well, we'll take a look at it, but it's going to cost you extra. So I agree. Go ahead and it needs to be fixed. I said, I guess if it's an issue, then we'll address that afterwards. And I said, but right now we need to find out what it is, so the RV will be safe to drive. So I spent 7.5 hours, 7.5 hours in the dealership all day, basically. And for them to do those two little things. Now, I could have done both of those in my driveway in about an hour and a half with the limited tools and capabilities that I have. I mean, I don't have a great big shop with air tools and all that stuff at my disposal. So, but an hour and a half would have been plenty of time for me to get that accomplished by myself at my age in my driveway. So I thought 7.5 hours was really ridiculous. While I was there, the VIP status, I found that I still had the VIP status, but the I was no longer important. It was ignored. So nothing that that, when I was questioning, what's going on, why is it taking so long, nobody had answers for me. It's just going to take some time. So all day goes by, and when I'm getting ready to fill out the paperwork to leave, the service writer wants me to sign these papers. I said, so what was the problem with the suspension? She says, we can't look at the suspension. We're not authorized to do work on the suspension. And I was like, well, when I got here, you told me it was going to be an extra charge for you to look at the suspension issue. And she said, yeah, but we just don't have the capability to look at the suspension. We're not authorized to work on the suspension. I said, well, I feel like you could still look at it. I mean, your mechanics are mechanically inclined, I would assume, and can probably tell me what the issue is, even if they can't make repairs. I said, so y'all didn't do anything? And she said, no, we can't do anything with it because we're not an authorized repair center for the chassis. You're going to have to go to somebody that works on Spartan chassis. And I said, well, I think probably what I should do is maybe instead of going to someplace else, I should probably call the state police and point out to them that I have a brand new inspection sticker on the windshield, but I have an issue with the suspension, and maybe they would have a little input into this situation. So she gave me the number to Spartan. She gave me the number to Integra. The people at Integra, very nice, very helpful. Love dealing with them. I've had a couple of occasions where I've had to call them for issues because the people that did my walkthrough and my orientation at General RV, the lady that they sent out to do the orientation with me, I don't know that she's ever been in an RV because she was just as lost as I am. This is my third motorhome, so I'm somewhat familiar with basic stuff, but this is my first luxury motorhome, and there's a lot of stuff in this one that's not in my previous RVs. So it was a nightmare from the beginning. I ended up having to call Spartan on several different issues that I didn't know how things operated because I was never shown how they were operated. So fortunately, YouTube to the rescue again. There's a lot of videos that explain things on a Spartan coach or on an Integra coach. So but Integra said that was a chassis issue and that they wouldn't be able to help me with that. I would have to go to Spartan, and she gave me the number to Spartan. And I called Spartan, and the guy at Spartan said, yes, sir, we can take care of you. Spartan, also wonderful company to deal with. He had no problems. He will take care of that under warranty for you. He said, however, you're looking at about 4 months before we can get you in to do the repair work. And he suggested that I might want to have someone local that worked on chassis take a look at it. He gave me a couple numbers. I called both those numbers and ended up getting an appointment here locally. Took it over there, dropped it off. They called me back the next day, said, yep, you can come pick up your coach. You're all straight. I said, really? Well, what was the problem? And he told me basically that on one of the tie rod ends that somebody had done some repairs, and when they put the clamps back on the tie rod ends, they put them on upside down where the bolts were on the top instead of on the bottom. So when the tie rod end would go past that cross member or the cross linkage that connected the two, it would actually catch on that top piece and would push against it until it broke loose, and that would cause my terrific thud. So I said, awesome. How much I owe you? He said, $350. I think it was $350. Might have been $250. Very reasonable, though. I was happy to pay that. Didn't have to put it on my extended warranty or anything. So got all that taken care of. But my experience with General is that I can't. I've had some other little issues, and some of them are not really General's fault. Some of the issues that I've had, like I had the heat pump. It's got 3 heat pumps. The first one in the front of the coach, actually, it stopped working one day, and when I turned it back on, it was a tremendous rattle. Now, I've been doing heating and air conditioning work for 40 some years, so I knew right away that my blower fan had come apart, or had something in it and was throwing it out of balance really bad. So got on the roof, took that apart. It was destroyed, so I had to order a new squirrel cage. That came in a couple days from Amazon. Put it on, no issues, works fine now. The bedroom shade was taken care of by their guys. It did require the motor to be replaced. The toilet was fixed. That's now working. So the LED lights that I pointed out on the walkthrough were not addressed. He told me that they didn't have enough money in the deal to do anything with the lights or the escutcheon on the stereo. And I asked him, if you don't have enough money to work on the LED lights, why are we even worrying about a walkthrough? And this was prior to the walkthrough. I said, because if you don't have the money in it for LED lights, if there's something more serious, then what? So the LED and the escutcheon were not addressed. I fixed the escutcheon with a little super glue, so that's how easy that was. The loud thud is now taken care of. So front heat pump is now taken care of. I did have a problem with zone 3, the Aqua Hot zone 3 pump failed. So I had to, rather than try to go through the warranty and go back to general and spend that much time, I just ordered a new replacement pump. I ordered 2 so I'd have a spare. And it took me probably, 30 minutes to put it in. Then that was resolved. I subsequently discovered on our first shakedown trip, which we took a couple weeks ago, and we went just from Virginia to North Carolina, because that's how you do your first shakedown. You don't want to go halfway across the country to find out you got a bunch of issues. So found out that the ice maker was not producing ice. So worked on that, tinkered with it, did a lot of troubleshooting, determined that the ice maker was just bad. Ordered a new ice maker from Amazon. That came in a couple days, put it in, easy peasy. It only took, maybe 20 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that to put it in. Now my refrigerator's making ice, so we're good there. Currently, what we discovered on the shakedown was that the washer doesn't spin. It spins, but it doesn't spin enough to get the water out of the clothes. So your clothes are still soaking wet when you get ready to take them out of the washing machine and put them in the dryer. So I still have to tinker with that a little bit and find out what's going on. That was a problem that I felt like should have been addressed. They should have known it. They should have tested everything out on their post or pre-delivery inspection, but they did not. Also, my Firefly system, very sporadic. It works most of the time. Sometimes it decides to go on vacation, and I have to kill the power to the coach and then turn it back on, and everything will reset and everything's fine. So I don't know what's going on with that, but it's something I can work with. So and then I did discover a coolant leak on the Aqua Hot. Noticed one day that I wasn't getting in it wasn't heating the coach. So I went outside and seen that the boiler fluid in there was completely empty. So I filled that back up and got to looking around and found the leak at the water heater itself. So I was able to fix that. So that's another problem solved. But basically, the moral of this story is, if you are in the market for an RV and you are inclined to go to General RV, sorry about your bad luck. You ain't gonna be happy. You might be happy with the coach eventually, and especially if you're somewhat handy and can take care of your own issues, but you will not get any help from them. One last thing, I love YouTube, as I've mentioned in the previous video. I went on YouTube and I downloaded Matt's Cache. So in the event that I think I did that after we had decided to buy the RV and before I had actually went back to sign all the paperwork and finalize the purchase. So they gave me a really hard time, and I know Matt seems like a good guy, and for all that I've seen, seems like a wonderful guy. So I don't think that that's any indication that he is aware of the way that they do business, but they pretty much refused to honor the match cash, and the manager of the store told me that no, we couldn't do that because I had to present it when I first come in. And I pointed out to him that no, it says right here on the coupon, must be presented at time of sale. I said, now, this RV is not sold yet because I haven't signed that paper right there on the desk. So this is the time of sale. And you're going to either honor this, or you can take that paper back and we're going to get on out of here. And you're not going to like my YouTube video. So he agreed as soon as I mentioned that I would be yet another disgruntled general RV YouTube influencer. He agreed to go ahead and honor the Matt's Cash coupon. So that worked out okay, even though it was a struggle. So just be aware. If you go in there, I mean, you better go in well armed. You better go in and inspect it, and it'd be a good idea to make sure that you understand everything about the RV that you're looking at from other sources, because you will not get the information if you get the same person I got. I assume that there must be someone there that's more knowledgeable, but I mean, I'm still trying to figure out where the light switches go and what does what, and never mind the audio video stuff. I have no clue about where that goes, and the solar panels and all that stuff. There was absolutely no information on that. So hopefully this will help you in your decision if you are out looking for an RV. Now, I know that there are RV companies out there that have a higher quality of customer service, probably just about any of them. But there's you just have to use a lot of caution when you're buying. And fortunately, everything that I've discovered so far, either they have fixed reluctantly, or I have been able to fix it myself. So still very happy with the RV. Love it. It's absolutely everything I could have asked for. So no problems there. But hopefully, if you're in the market for an RV, you really think long and hard before going to General, because it's not going to be a pleasant experience. You can go in and tell them you want to buy something, get that VIP treatment, but don't go back. That'll be poetic justice. So anyway, hopefully this video has been somewhat informative for someone out there. If it helps one person, it's worthwhile. So hopefully, if it's your first time here, you'll hit that subscribe button and see if we can't build up a little followership. And I'll look forward to doing my next video, and you look forward to seeing it. And in the meantime, remember, when you're camping, take only photos, leave only footprints.